We used to meet in the park every day and talk for hours. We used to watch movies together and eat together. Arsal was a kind-hearted person and always made me laugh. He didn't have much money, but that didn't matter to me. I really enjoyed being with him. After 6 months of being together, he asked me to move in with him. I immediately said yes. I left my hostel and moved in with him at his house. My name is Leno. I am 26 years old. We live in a small city in America. I am very beautiful in appearance, fair complexion, very beautiful body, blonde hair. I want to tell you my story, which is from 2 years ago. At that time, I was 24 years old. I was studying in college at that time. I was very happy in life. The girls in my class were my very good friends. We were staying in the college hostel, and after a long time, on my way home one day, I went to a shop to buy some goods. The name of this shopkeeper was Arsal. He seemed to be a very nice person. He was very beautiful in appearance, well-mannered, young, and very handsome. I was also very beautiful. He went crazy as soon as he saw me. He talked to me very lovingly, asked me where I came from. I also talked to him a lot. I liked all this very much. He gave me his number and I returned with his goods. I called him at night and he recognized me immediately after answering the call. He was very nice and very sweet. We talked for long hours that night. One day he called me to the park and I agreed to meet because I had completely trusted him. We both sat in the park and talked for a long time and joked with each other. Arsal was a very funny guy and very well-mannered. Anyone who saw him immediately became his. He told me that he lives alone. His parents lived in another city. I felt safe with him. My feelings for him grew stronger day by day. We used to meet in the park every day and talk for hours. We used to watch movies together and eat together. Arsal was a kind-hearted person and always made me laugh. He didn't have much money, but that didn't matter to me. I really enjoyed being with him. After 6 months of being together, he asked me to move in with him. I immediately said yes. I left my hostel and moved in with him at his house. The house was not that big. It was a rented house, but it was clean and comfortable. We made plans for the future. I was sure that we were building a life that would last forever. For the first few months, everything was beautiful. Everything went very well. We would walk in the park every evening and eat together, wake up and sleep together. Arsal would tell me very cute jokes and make me laugh, so much that I thought I had found the person I needed, and that I would spend my life with him. I felt very lucky, but slowly things started changing. Arsal started coming home late. He always said the same thing. He is tired of work. The smile that used to be on his face was less now. I had stopped going to college and just stayed at home, sometimes with Arsal at the store, and sometimes with Arsal at home on mobile, etc. He stopped asking about my day. His eyes were always on his phone instead of me. I asked him what happened. He said nothing, but I could feel the distance between us growing. He was there, but his heart was somewhere else. One morning I felt sick, and I went to the washroom and felt like throwing up. I thought I had eaten something, but the next day I got sick again. I told Arsal that I have not been feeling well since yesterday. You come with me to the doctor. He said, I am busy at the shop. You go. When I reached the doctor, he told me that you are going to be a mother. That is, I was pregnant. When I got home, I sat on the bed and started crying. I was scared that what had happened to me, but then I felt that maybe this happiness was mine. I wanted to tell Arsal right away. That night I waited for him to come home. When he walked through the door, I said we needed to talk. He looked tired. I looked into his eyes and said the words, I'm having a baby. He stared at me, and for a moment I was shocked. He didn't say anything to me. He sat down in a chair and put his face in his hands. I waited for someone to answer. After a long silence, he finally spoke. He asked, Are you sure you're going to be a mother? I said yes. He got up and started pacing around the room. Then he said the words that broke my heart. He couldn't do it. I told him we could raise the baby together, but he shook his head no. He said he wasn't ready. He never wanted this. My heart stopped. It felt like I was holding my breath, and I started to get really worried. I asked him if he really didn't want this baby. He looked at me and said he didn't want this life. He grabbed his jacket and walked out. I stayed up all night waiting. He didn't come back. I called him several times. He didn't answer. I sent him many messages, but he didn't answer me. A few days later, he finally answered. His message only said, I'm sorry. This is not the life I want. Then he blocked my number and left me alone. Sold the shop and walked away from me forever. I cried every day. I even stopped eating. I cried at night. I put my hand on my stomach and whispered to my baby. I told the baby that I was there. I promised that I would take care of him. My parents and the rest of my college friends didn't know about me. I couldn't tell anyone now. I was ashamed. I was afraid that they wouldn't know what to do with me. I was completely alone. But I knew that I had to be strong. I had to eat, sleep, and work for my baby. I started taking care of myself again. The house I lived in had a small room. It had only a bed and a small kitchen, and there was a small yard outside. I went inside and started my life. I would go to the doctor alone. The first time I heard my baby's heartbeat, tears came to my eyes. I promised my child that I would never leave him. I worked every single day. I desperately needed money to pay for the rent of the house and household expenses. But I didn't have any. I looked for a job in a big store and got a job. Even though I came home exhausted, I didn't give up. I saved money. I made little suits for my son and bought his toys. I read books about pregnancy and children. Even when I wanted to break down, I would strengthen myself. Some people on the street looked at me with pity. Others looked at me carefully. But I kept my head high. This child was mine and I would never give up. As the months passed, my belly grew bigger. My back ached. My legs felt heavy. But I kept working. Sometimes my clothes would get wet in the rain and I would feel cold, but I would still control myself. Some days I was too tired to stand, but I kept going. I still thought about Arsal sometimes. I would think if he had ever missed me, and tears would fall, but I would still control myself. He never called, never came back. One night I had severe pain. I knew it was time. I took a taxi to the hospital. A nurse helped me to the bed. The pain was intense. I cried out and held the bed tightly. After a few moments I heard a baby crying. It was a boy. The nurse put him in my arms. I pulled him closer and looked at his small face. I whispered greetings. I kissed his soft cheek and told him that he was safe now. I promised him that I would never leave him. I was so tired from the pain, but my heart was filled with love for the child who was the treasure of my life. In that moment, all the pain and sorrow of my past melted away. I was no longer alone. I was a mother. I knew I would do anything for him. The first days after my son was born were not easy. I was exhausted. My son cried all night long. I barely slept. I had named my son Ark. I woke up several times to feed him. But I didn't complain. I loved him so much. My job was to take care of him and be strong for him. My body and mind were tired, but every time I looked at Ark, I felt at peace. I promised to give him the best life I could. After a few days in the hospital, we moved back to our small rented house. There wasn't much space, so I put him in a small crib. I took out his clothes and toys that I had already made. I worked hard to make that little room feel like a real home, a place where he would feel safe and loved. After a few days off from the store, I started working there again because I was out of money and needed money for rent and food. I wanted my son and I to have a good life. It was hard at first, but I felt proud. I worked every hour for my son. I would finish my shift and come home early to take care of him. Even when I was tired, I never complained. My love for Ark made me give him the best I could. As the months passed, I began to feel the same way again. My son was also growing up now. He started smiling more, then laughing, then crawling. I felt so proud to see him. I couldn't believe he was mine. Sometimes, I would take Ark for a walk in the same park where my old memories were connected. I would sit there and remember Arsal, and sometimes my tears would fall. When I saw Ark playing, all the sorrows would be forgotten. The sound of his laughter made every struggle worthwhile. Then one day, Arsal suddenly called. Hearing his voice gave me a shock. I didn't want to talk to him, but I answered anyway. He asked me what happened to the baby. Then I told him the whole story. I asked him what he wanted. He said he was sorry for what he had done. He had made a big mistake. He wanted to be a part of my son Ark's life. Anger welled up inside me. I told him he had left us. He didn't care about us when we needed him the most, and now he wants to come back. He said I was wrong, forgive me. He wanted to help and be a father. I fell silent for a moment. I thought about all the pain he had caused. But I realized I didn't want to take this anger anymore. My life was good. I had a beautiful son. I didn't need anyone to complete my world anymore, because he had left us when I needed him. I told him no. We don't need anyone anymore. Everything was going well. My son and I were happy without him. He was silent for a moment. Then he said he understood. He said if you ever need anything, I'll always be here for you. I didn't say another word. I ended the call. I looked at Ark, who was sleeping peacefully in his crib. I pulled myself together and smiled, knowing I had made the right choice. I didn't need Arsal. I had everything I needed with Ark. The next month brought more stability. I worked hard and saved money. I bought Ark new clothes. I found a good daycare where he could stay while I worked. I made sure he was safe and happy. We still had very little money, but we had the happiness we needed. Arsal still tries to contact me and stay with us, but remembering the past that he hurt me, I don't want him to stay with us. But sometimes I think that mistakes are human. Adopt him again. Dear friends, what do you think about this? Let us know by commenting whether we should adopt Arsal or not. Like, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your opinion in the comments. See you in the next video. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.